What's up, guys? James here again. Team XZ this time around, and most of my POV matchups in terms of versus Fusion and or Link decks, most of the matches were versus Team Fusion, and there are instances about going up against Team Links, two of which from the same secret pack, Trickstar and Marincess, aka Essence of Flora and Ocean. If these cute and cuddly creatures with such very small attack may be, cute and all, but never judge a book by its cover when we can fight bigger monsters with something even bigger. Vernusylph, Melffy to be precise. Starting with the deck profile, rule of thumb, because this is the dual triangle, Blink Out and Defusion as the very first cards I put up with. We literally talked about Blink Out from the Lunalight deck profile, and then Defusion, its fusion version of compulsory evacuation device, and the idea is that going up against branded decks in general, if I expect with the likes of Mirror Jade, which is one of the most problematic branded monsters out there, in terms of all bads as material to be specific, put the Mirror Jade back, and it makes it so that the destruction effect is never going to happen from the get-go. So, Defusion and Blink Out, these are the first two cards I put up with because this is dual triangle. And shoutouts to Pharaoh, aka Atem, for using Defusion on Noah Kaiba in terms of Yugi splitting up the Ultimate Dragon into 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons for the OTK line. And on top of that, in terms of the use of Defusion, this card comes up at least twice. One for taking care of Shaddolls, being Winda, Construct, and it makes it so that you will not get your resources back. And then the other time was versus Despia, for that matter, in terms of the use of Defusion. Now, non-engine, I should say, Fiendsmith's Trapped, searching the 2 copies of Santa Claus. The idea about Santa Claus is, if for whatever the reason, in Team XZ or Link is where if I expect Lunalight Liger Dancer, for which, by the way, it did not come up one time, or most cases, if I go against something like Team Fusion, where they have Dark Dragoon and any other unoutable monsters, Fiendsmith's Trap, search Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is basically a Christmas kaiju. Let's not dwell on Santa Claus too much, because if any of you guys saw how unique Santa Claus was in my Fusion / Link Festival of Lunalight deck profile, that tells you that I've been playing Lunalight for like months and never expect to make the next move with Santa Claus. So aside from the Santa Claus package, Blink Out and Defuse, as we mentioned already, Harpy's Feather Duster, Tactics Talent, Tactics Thrust, Blizzard, 2 Imperms, 2 Dominus Purge. No Forbidden Chalice in this one because space issues. And then Vernusylphs, Flowering Fields, Thawing Mountains, Misting Ceilings, Flourishing Hills, Awakening Forest, Vera Vernusylph Goddess, Full Bloom, Corolla, Flower Buds, 2 Changing Seasons. You can argue about playing one, but at the same time, The second changing seasons is specifically needed for the sake of extra Vernusylph follow-ups, the lower level discard effects to be precise. Oh, and trap trick for the duplicate trap targets in terms of playing the extra copies of changing seasons. Otherwise, it's like if you're playing non-engine, 2 imperms because of trap trick, and then 2 purge for the sake of trap trick. So you never know when the time is right with that 1 trap trick in good use. Earth Beast engines. Wind Up Kitten, Calentosa Bunny, aka Mystical Beast of the Forest, Valeraphon, aka Bambi, Tri Brigade Karis. This was my last minute tech option because level 2 Earth Beast synergy with the animals of Valeraphon, Vernusylph for the sake of Earth, and many more to it. Kitty Tail, Mystical Beast of the Forest. Cute little royal rare, by the way. Also, Kitty Tail in terms of getting A search targets within the 5 types, mainly Beast. That comes up at least like every now and then in terms of 2 or 3 times in terms of different games. Rescue Cat and Obedience School. If any of these 2 cards resolve, you should not be losing from the get-go. Most cases, Rescue Cat summon. If they ass shit, Obedience School E-Telly for 3 level 2 or lower beasts with different names. Shake hands, GG's, good game, sir. Or madam. Like, again, let's not dwell on that too much about how broken Obedience School is. If anyone who played TCG knows, it's at 1 for that sole reason. That tells you this card is broke. Melffys. The name of the game with Melffys is that during your end phase, they freeze summon themselves from hand, and then if your opponent no more specials or declares an attack on a Melffy, you get to kick it back to the hand at resolution, by the way, to perform whatever action that it's telling you to do. Fanny Foxy, this is your special 1 beast from hand in any shape or form that isn't Fanny Foxy. 2 Kitty Catty, this is your Stratos of beasts in general that isn't Kitty Catty. 2 Puppy Doggy, this is your E-Telly of any beast that isn't Puppy Doggy in terms of level 2 or lower beast. Pony Horsey, this is your recursion of 1 level 2 or lower beast from grave to hand. 2 Wally, aka Wallaby the Kangaroo. This is your E-Telly for 2 Melffys with different names that isn't Wally, aka Wallaby the Kangaroo. 1 Melffy tag, it's hard once per turn, reborn a Melffy. And then 1 card you didn't see on this list, or a couple cards. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, Forbidden Chalice, Alpha, the Master of Beasts. Yeah, it's just Chalice and Alphas, because for Chalices, no space, and then Alphas, to be specific, I honestly didn't think about Alphas, to be honest, because for 1, space reasons within a deck, and 2, if I recall on Alphas correctly, he needs to be either A, properly summoned first, and no other ways doing so, or B, it's like one of those must first be special summoned something in terms of properly summoned Alpha, and if it's successfully properly summoned, then you can use your Vernusylphs to revive the guy. Correct me if I'm wrong on that ruling, or more so. And then extra deck. Gachi Gantetsu. Number 45, Crumble Logos, the Prophet of Demolition. This card came up versus Trickstar, shutting off their Lycoris, making sure I will not take any more burn damage. Diamond Dire Wolf, a rather old card in terms of classical beasts. Wonky Quartet, card literally never come up at all, which is unfortunate. Downard, Zeus, Typhon. And then the real star attraction of the show, 3, Ronin Raccoon Sendeu. Melffy of the Forest, Melffy Mommy, and Joyous Melffys. This card puts in so much pressure against your opponents because if they have something that's like super higher that we can't get through, Sandayu gets the job done of generating the token, soft forms per turn, by the way. And there was a game in which I had 2 of these on board. The 2 Sandayus cannot be killed by battle or card effects, assuming that if you have at least 2 of these out. Melffy of the Forest, this is your Stratos of any Melffy card, spell/trap included, and if for some reason another face-up Melffy gets kicked back to the hand, this is basically Phoenix Chain, which is amazing. Melffy Mommy did not come up at all, sadly, but in theory, she's only for defensive purposes. And then Joyous Melffys, this card is a stone cold killer because Joyous enables the whole squad to built-in Sky Striker Ace Hayate, aka direct attacks. And during your opponent's turn, you can target 1 beast XZ you control, kick it back to the extra, and this is your sole charge of level 2 or lower beast monsters based off from the number of materials that it had. And with that being said, this has been James Polk with the unique convoluted build of Vernusylph Melffy. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated, and we'll catch you guys next time.